Welcome to Passion Travel. Explore world street food, captivating vlogs, and inspiring journeys with us. Subscribe to experience adventure in every video. Tartine, open-faced sandwiches with various toppings like cheese, ham, and vegetables. Here's a simple recipe for making tartinis. Ingredients: sliced bread, baguette, or your preferred type, olive oil or butter. Assorted toppings. Examples include cheese, cured meats, vegetables, spreads like pesto or tapenade, etc. Salt and pepper to taste, optional herbs or spices for added flavor. Instructions. Preheat the oven. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees F, 175 degrees C, or set your toaster to your preferred setting. Prepare the bread. Place the sliced bread on a baking sheet or toaster tray. If using a baking sheet, you can brush the bread slices lightly with olive oil or spread with butter for extra flavor. Toast the bread. Place the baking sheet in the preheated oven and toast the bread slices until they are lightly golden and crisp, about 5-7 minutes. Alternatively, toast the bread slices in a toaster until they reach your desired level of crispiness. Add toppings. Once the bread slices are toasted, remove them from the oven or toaster. Arrange your desired toppings on each slice of bread. You can get creative here and mix and match toppings to create unique flavor combinations. Season. Sprinkle salt and pepper over the tartines to taste. You can also add any herbs or spices you like for additional flavor. Serve. Transfer the prepared tartines to a serving platter and serve immediately while still warm. Enjoy your delicious open-faced sandwiches as a snack, appetizer, or light meal. Crème Brûlée, creamy custard topped with caramelized sugar. Crème Brûlée is a classic French dessert consisting of a rich custard base topped with a layer of caramelized sugar. Here's a simple recipe to make crème brûlée. Ingredients: 1 quart, 4 cups, heavy cream, 1 vanilla bean, split lengthwise, and seeds scraped out, 1 cup granulated sugar, divided 6 large egg yolks, 4 teaspoons salt, additional granulated sugar for caramelizing. Instructions. Preheat your oven to 325 degrees F, 160 degrees C. Place 6 ramekins in a large baking dish and set aside. In a medium saucepan, combine the heavy cream, vanilla bean seeds, and the split vanilla bean pod. Heat over medium heat until it just begins to simmer. Remove from heat and let it steep for about 15 minutes to infuse the cream with the vanilla flavor. In a mixing bowl, whisk together 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, egg yolks, and salt until well combined and slightly thickened. Remove the vanilla bean pod from the cream mixture and discard. Slowly pour the warm cream into the egg yolk mixture, whisking constantly until smooth and well combined. Strain the custard mixture through a fine mesh sieve into a clean bowl to remove any lumps or vanilla bean pieces. Divide the custard evenly among the prepared ramekins. Place the baking dish with the ramekins on the oven rack, then carefully pour hot water into the baking dish until it reaches halfway up the sides of the ramekins, creating a water bath. Bake the crème brûlée in the preheated oven for 40-45 minutes or until the edges are set, but the centers are still slightly jiggly. Remove the ramekins from the water bath and let them cool to room temperature. Then, cover and refrigerate them for at least 2 hours or overnight until fully chilled and set. Just before serving, sprinkle about 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar evenly over the surface of each custard. Use a kitchen torch to caramelize the sugar until it forms a golden brown crust. Alternatively, you can place the ramekins under a broiler for a few minutes until the sugar caramelizes. Patisserie, assorted pastries like éclairs, religieuses, and millefeuilles. Patisseries refers to French pastries, which encompass a wide range of sweet baked goods. Here are some classic French pastries you might enjoy. Croissant, a buttery, flaky pastry made from laminated dough, typically enjoyed for breakfast or as a snack. Éclair, a long, thin pastry filled with cream and topped with icing, often chocolate. Macaron, colorful almond meringue cookies, sandwiched together with ganache, buttercream, or jam. Millefeuille, Napoleon, layers of puff pastry, alternating with pastry cream, typically topped with a glaze or powdered sugar. Tarte tatin, an upside-down tart made with caramelized apples or other fruit, baked with a buttery pastry crust. Tarte tatin, an upside-down tart made with caramelized apples or other fruit, baked with a buttery pastry crust. Madeleine, small shell-shaped sponge cakes with a delicate texture, often flavored with lemon zest or almonds. Palmier, elephant ear, flaky puff pastry rolled in sugar and baked until caramelized, resembling the shape of an elephant's ear. Brioche, a sweet buttery bread made with eggs and butter, often eaten for breakfast or as a base for French toast. Croque-Monsieur, grilled ham and cheese sandwich topped with bechamel sauce. Croque-Monsieur is a classic French sandwich made with ham, cheese, and bread, typically served hot and toasted. Here's how to make it. Ingredients: 8 slices of sandwich bread, white or whole wheat, 8 slices of ham, 8 slices of Gruyere or Emmental cheese Dijon mustard, optional, butter, softened salt and pepper to taste instructions. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees F, 190 degrees C. If desired, spread a thin layer of Dijon mustard on one side of each slice of bread. Place a slice of ham and a slice of cheese on half of the bread slices. Season with salt and pepper to taste. Top each ham and cheese slice with another slice of bread to form sandwiches. Spread a thin layer of softened butter on the outside of each sandwich. Heat a large skillet over medium heat. Once hot, add the sandwiches to the skillet and cook until golden brown on both sides, about 2-3 minutes per side. Transfer the sandwiches to a baking sheet and place them in the preheated oven. Bake for an additional 5-7 minutes or until the cheese is melted and bubbly. Remove the Croque-Monsieur sandwiches from the oven and let them cool slightly before serving. Crêpes, thin pancakes filled with various sweet or savory fillings. Crêpes are thin, delicate pancakes that originated in France. Here's a simple recipe to make them. Ingredients: 1 cup all-purpose flour, 2 large eggs, 1 cup milk, 1 4-cup water, 2 tablespoons melted butter, 1 tablespoon granulated sugar, optional, 1/4 teaspoon salt, butter or oil for cooking instructions. Prepare the batter. In a mixing bowl, whisk together the flour, eggs, milk, water, melted butter, sugar, if using, and salt until smooth. The batter should be thin and pourable. If it's too thick, you can add a little more milk or water to reach the desired consistency. Rest the batter. Let the batter rest for at least 30 minutes at room temperature. This allows the flour to fully hydrate and the gluten to relax, resulting in softer and more tender crepes. Cook the crepes. Heat a non-stick skillet or crepe pan over medium heat. Add a small amount of butter or oil to coat the bottom of the pan. Pour a small ladleful of batter into the center of the pan, then quickly tilt and swirl the pan to spread the batter into a thin, even layer. ***. Cook the crepe for about 1-2 minutes or until the edges start to lift and the bottom is lightly golden brown. Use a spatula to carefully flip the crepe, then cook for an additional 1-2 minutes on the other side. Repeat. Continue cooking the remaining batter, adding more butter or oil to the pan as needed to prevent sticking. Serve. Once cooked, transfer the crepes to a plate and serve warm with your choice of toppings. Popular options include Nutella, fresh fruit, whipped cream, jam, lemon juice, powdered sugar, or savory fillings like cheese, ham, or spinach.